And all right, we're being recorded with my messy hair and everything, but that's okay. I'm going to be showing students a few samples of a complete marketing plan and also walk them through the steps, and then groups will break out and look at some good examples for each step of the marketing plan and share those out. So first thing I'm going to do is talk about the step 5, budget allocations and metrics. I think that tripped up a few people. I did go ahead and extend that one until tomorrow, Wednesday. So you got a little bit more time. You can resubmit what you have. Let me go there. It's the opening. What a year. My goodness. Okay, gang, here we are, week 15. I'm going to check those dates on the final exam, see if those are correct. All right, so the final marketing plan, that is due on the 6th. There's no late submissions, so please get it in by then. And I want to dig a little deeper on this step 5 that you just turned in, budget and metrics. It's actually budget allocation and metrics. This is, you're giving your investors who are going to invest in your business and looking at your marketing plan, you're going to give them the numbers, how much you want to project in sales, how much you're going to spend on your marketing budget, what your allocations are for that marketing budget, what you're going to spend on advertising, sales promotion, whatever promotional mix is right for you and your product, and then your metrics for each of those activities. So I've skimmed some of your step 5s. I haven't graded any of them yet, but it looks like some of you got it and some of you could use another pass on it. So I wanted to hit this piece real here, which is the budget, how to set the marketing budget. I'm just going to walk through this spreadsheet real quickly. And it is a spreadsheet meant to be easy for you to put this together. Load this up a little bit. You all see this okay? Give me a reaction button. You can see it all right? Okay, thank you. All right, so the first thing you want to do to set your budget is determine how much money do I want to put in my pocket at the end of the year. So let's consider this annual net profit, money in my pocket. So come up with that number. In the sample, I put $100,000. Some students are like, I want to make $1 million. Whatever that is, it's fine. But you want to figure that piece out first. How much do I actually want to pocket for myself? Sample says $100,000. Next is, what is my profit margin on whatever I'm selling? If you're just selling information products online, you don't have a whole lot of hard expenses like the cost to make something. You're not making socks or skateboards. So your margin is probably pretty high. If you have no idea what your profit margin is, use an average of 50%, or you can do a Google search on what is the average net profit for your industry, and you'll get that number. Some industries have really low margins, like automobiles. So get that profit margin. So, okay, so I want to pocket $100,000. My profit margin is 20%. That means every dollar is sales, I only make 20 cents off every dollar, right? So you don't make every dollar that comes in, there's expenses going out. So in this case, let's say it's 20%. Then you get to your sales. So if I want to pocket $100,000 and I know my margin is 20%, then I can take my those two numbers and actually project my sales. So it'd be the profit margin, dollars, divided by the margin that you want. So in this case, we have 100,000 divided by 20%. Tells you your sales would have to be 500,000. Check that. If you take 500,000 and multiply it by 20%, you'll get $100,000. So now you have your target sales. Here's the sales I need to hit. And if those aren't realistic, then you might want to change that number But the next step is to create your marketing budget. The most common way is marketing budget is based on a percent of sales. Doesn't always work if you're launching a new product and there's nothing to benchmark it against. It's common in retail chains where like every restaurant, every store chips in X% of their sales towards the marketing budget. It works well when sales are increasing because your marketing budget increases. It doesn't work well when your sales are decreasing, right? Because your marketing budget starts to go down. Your marketing budget goes down, you spend less on advertising, and then what happens? Your sales go down even more, right? We call that the death spiral. Yeah, so you don't always want to, percent of sales doesn't always work. You kind of have to have a floor sometimes, like you will do percent of sales, but nothing below, $100,000 on my marketing budget. And percent is used pretty commonly in a lot of franchise chains. So if you're a franchise operation, like a Jiffy Lube or a Supercuts or a Wendy's restaurant, all your sales, 5% goes off the top to the marketing budget. So that stuff is audited and the company uses that to apply towards their marketing budget and do all their marketing on behalf of all those restaurants. So let's say you had $500,000 in sales, and let's say your marketing budget is 5%. You can also research what is the standard marketing budget for blankety blank industry, and you'll get some information. And then it's simply to determine your marketing budget. It's your sales times the percent of those sales that goes to your marketing budget. In this case, 5% of 500,000 is 25,000. So now we have our marketing budget. Give me a reaction button if that's making sense, a thumbs up, or an O face if it's not making sense at all. Or just unmute yourself if you have a question. I'm seeing thumbs, a few thumbs. That's good. All right, so we nailed that piece. All right, we got the budget. Then we have to allocate the budget. What are we allocating? That $25,000. And we're going to allocate it to the broad promotional mix category. So don't race directly into, I'm going to do TikTok, I'm going to do a copycat campaign, I'm going to do Instagram with feature stories. And you want to lump them into their main categories first. You don't have to spend in all of these main promotional mix categories. It depends on what your product's about. So for example, with Origin Coffee, we have, they're doing some sales promotion and they might get some PR and some advertising and even personal sales. They might do all four. So you have to kind of figure what's my product. If it's a tech thing, if it's like an app that you're selling that, you're hoping to sell to developers to go into phones, it's probably all going to be straight up advertising, maybe some PR. If you're doing a good works product, like it's more cause oriented, like, we sell these shoes and 50% of the shoe sales go to this organization like Tom's Shoes, and you would have a lot of PR. If you're selling in retail, I'm selling, I've got a new type of blender that I want to sell in Bed Bath & Beyond, then you're going to have sales promotion for sure, discounts, those types of things. So you want to kind of look at your product and decide what promotional mix elements make the most sense for me to allocate my marketing budget. In this sample, we have $25,000 to spend. And this student spent $10,000 on advertising, $5,000 on PR, and another $10,000 on sales promotion. Nothing on personal sales. Personal sales is salespeople. That's more common if you're selling something that you're going to sell to other businesses, like a tech platform or a component part or medical devices, right? You're going to sell those to hospitals. Then you would need salespeople. Okay. Does that make sense? So you've taken that $25,000 and you've allocated it to the promotional mix. Give me a reaction on that.
I have a question though. what would you say the percentage, sorry, if you are gonna use personal sales, like what is that percentage usually of your budget?
Okay, so that's, you could be working on commissions, a commission base. So because it's off of the sales itself, so sales, the numbers coming off of there, that'd be their commission number. You can look, I've got another document. That's a good question. I've got another document related to that. Let me see if I can find it with information on that. Hold that thought and let me circle back on that here in a second. So that gives you how to set your budget and how to allocate your budget. That's two of the three pieces of step 5. The third piece is the metrics for your allocations. The metrics are for advertising and PR and sales promotion. I'm spending 10,000. Here's what I want to get for that 10,000. For PR, I'm spending 5,000. Here's what I want to get for that 5,000. Same for advertising, spending 10. So let's go there and we can answer Kelly's question on that. So let me hide this real quick. And I have to do a little bit of a dive here because I put this in a different file. No, it's not in there. All right, so let me get to my metrics piece and that'll help explain this. So that is in the actual assignment. Let's go down to metrics. All right, so this here, marketing budget, is what we just covered, how to set the marketing budget. There's some steps on that. And then we allocated that budget. That was this piece here. And then now we're talking about the metrics. So to Kelly's question is, how do I determine the metrics for the promotional mix activities that I'm doing? Advertising, PR, personal sales, and sales promotion. Advertising, most of you are doing digital advertising, and you can use some of those straight up metrics there, like return on ad spend is good. Return on ad spend is simply your sales divided by your advertising expense. Usually it's incremental sales, additional sales from the advertising divided by the advertising expense. You typically want a 3-to-1 ratio or better. For every dollar of advertising that I spent, I got $3 in sales. So you can calculate this pretty easily because you have your sales number. You did that up in the marketing budget up above. So you have your projected sales and you've allocated your advertising expense. You have what you need to calculate return on ad spend. Does that make sense? It's simply your sales number divided by your advertising expense. So that's the metric that you can use for advertising. For PR, public relations, a little different here. You got to have like a groovy, eco-groovy, newsworthy product or service idea, right? That the news would want to come out and cover. It's some new technology, or you're doing some good works, you're helping to heal the planet, or, it's got that good works component to it that the media would come out and cover. So here, if you're spending on that previous budget, we saw 5,000. Here's our allocations, 10,000 for advertising. Sorry about that. Turn that phone all the way off. We had 10,000 in advertising, and we had our projected sales of how much? 500,000. So we could calculate return on ad spend. We have our two numbers there. For the other metrics, so I'm going to close that for a second. Getting too many things open. This is all in the marketing plan project step 5, which I've reopened and I've extended to tomorrow, Wednesday before midnight. You still got time. So for PR, you have to determine, here's what I want to get. I'm going to do some publicity. I'm inviting the media to cover something I'm doing. Maybe I'm writing a press release. Maybe I'm doing a special event and I'm hoping that the media comes out and they're seeing me donate coffee. And every dollar of coffee donation, fundraising goes to the Make-A-Wish Foundation or something like that. So that's what you're doing as the activity. That's the expense, $5,000 maybe for free coffee. The metric is how much coverage am I going to get for those efforts? How much media coverage am I going to get? How do I know how much TV coverage, news coverage is worth, or a print article, in a magazine? You can Google and kind of guesstimate. I got the news came out and covered me for 2 minutes. What's 2 minutes of commercial time during prime time, if it was prime time coverage? And you can kind of guesstimate that way and come up with a rough number what that coverage is. So you'll use that as a target. Bottom line is you want to have some kind of number. I'm hoping to get X amount of, or it could just be people. I want 3 media reps to come out and cover my business, or I want to get $40,000 worth of media coverage for this event, et cetera. That's the metric for PR, the dollar value of the media coverage. For personal sales, to Kelly's question, you might be selling something to retailers. You might need salespeople to work a territory. Oh my goodness. My phone is not cooperating. Power off. Sorry about that. Each salesperson should generate X number of sales annually. So that can be unit sales. For every salesperson I hire, they should be generating 50, 70, 100 sales a year, a quarter, whatever that is. And then you're going to be paying them some type of commission. So you don't need the cost. You just need the goal, the metrics, how many sales they're going to generate, how many units they're going to sell. Either of those work for personal sales. Does that help? I forgot who asked.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
I just wouldn't know what to even like guess for that for sales, or would I just have to like research how many sales there are for like similar products? Because mine kind of just varies a lot with different companies.
Yeah, you'll need to take some type of educated guess, and that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, for this academic exercise, that's fine. And then the last category is sales promotion, contests, sweepstakes, coupons, buy one, get one free, a special event table where people are getting samples and you're trying to capture their email or have them like you on social media. So this could be a variety of things. If it's an event, how many people do you want to have come to your booth? How many leads do you want to capture? How many folks do you want to do some type of engagement on social media? How many folks do you want to have redeem a coupon that you issued or distributed? How many samples do you want to hand out? Anything's okay. It depends on what you're doing. So special events tends to be, you might be pushing out samples. You might be giving away some kind of freemium item, but put a number on it. So put a number on it. So that's all the metrics are, is here's the goal that I'm trying to hit. It doesn't always have to be sales. Here's the goal I'm trying to hit for my marketing allocations. And then there you have that complete budget metrics. So your investors like to see like, all right, here's their budget. Here's how they're going to allocate it. And they have some targets. So they're being fiscally responsible with how they're going to spend the money. And I can come back to them if I did invest with them and say, did you hit your numbers? And if not, why not? So does this help? Are we feeling better about step 5?
Yeah, it does.
Like, we're feeling exhausted about the entire semester. Step 5, step 12, I don't know. We don't even know what day it is anymore. I feel you. I feel y'all. We're so close. You can taste the finish line. It's almost there. I used to run cross country when I was a young lad, and I remember just like it's levels of pain, right, that you're trying to push through, and you'd be dying. And then for some reason, when you'd hear the roar of the crowd as you started approaching the finish line, you get a little burst of energy. So just pretend there's a roar, of the crowd every time you open up the Canvas course and you're like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Okay, so that's that piece. Now I want to take a few, and feel free to unmute, ask me questions. I went through that a little quickly, but this step 5 of the budgeting and metrics, I've reopened it. You can go back in. You've got till tomorrow, the 2nd. I would suggest you work that worksheet. Marketing students and marketing folks, oftentimes the numbers aren't their thing, but it's important that you can do the numbers, especially if you want to attract investors, and you're going to have to defend your marketing decisions as you move through an organization or even running your own business. So it is about the numbers, and you want to see how you're spending your money on your marketing efforts. And if you're spending money on stuff that you're not getting return on, you need to turn that faucet off and put it somewhere else, right? So, and that's a constant flux of moving things around. Yeah.
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually. So obviously the budget for, in this particular example, is like $25,000 for the marketing budget. So that's for annual, right?
Yep.
So when you're presenting it to whoever you're trying to make a campaign for, or whoever your client is, do they want to see it like monthly, broken down monthly, like how you're gonna, or daily or weekly? Is there like a further breakdown that you want to do? I did mine pretty, I think, down to the day, and it looked kind of ridiculous, but I don't really know. I didn't really know how to do that part.
Yeah, that's a good question, Karen. So back in my day, dating myself, yeah, we used to do media calendars, and it looks like the 12 months of the year on a big landscape piece of paper with all the weeks, and there's all these grids and rows, and you can still do a Google search for media calendar template, and you'll see them there. And it's listing in those boxes what you're spending on TV and print and radio and outdoor and when it's all happening. So it does, our current equivalent of that would be our content calendar, right? So we have a content calendar, but you could also have like the expenses related to that content calendar listed there. So, so that depends on the client, what you're doing, but it does help to kind of have it mapped out on where you're going to spend. We're going to run heavy in November and December during the Christmas buying season. And then we're just going to go light, with a reminder advertising schedule. It may be 1/3 of the weight, 1/3 of the cost through January. And then we're going to come in heavy again with our February promotion for Valentine's Day gift giving. So it takes some planning, but the first step is here. How much money do I have to play with? Where do I want to put it? And then how specifically I'm going to spend it, and what's the return I want to get on each of those spends.
Right. Yeah. Because I was noticing that like certain months would definitely be different for me than other months. So it was sort of, trying to break that down. And then I just went across the board, just kind of did an average across the board for every month.
The deal now, it used to be marketing was pretty freewheeling. And if you ran a campaign and sales increased, you didn't get asked a lot of questions. Everybody's happy. But nowadays it's gotten so granular. There's so many ways, Google Analytics, et cetera, to really measure at a granular level what's happening, that marketers' roles have changed from maybe being, the persuasive creative types, which you still need, to also being able to switch over and getting analytical, and being able to look at the numbers, and being able to defend your promotional efforts based on the numbers.
Right.
Now, that is now a new requirement. It's always been a requirement of marketing, but it was easier then. The tools were kind of bigger, and now things have gotten really micro. But it's also good. You've got so much stuff. So you can have an organization that maybe has some folks that are really good with content calendars and imaging. You've got like a JR doing all that stuff, and then somebody who's maybe more of a numbers cruncher running that piece, and they're working in concert. So you may not have all of those skills in one person, I guess is what I'm saying. So depends on the organization, but you do need to at least identify the metric goals in that plan.
Yeah, that makes sense. Of course, you'd want to know where that money's being spent. Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Yeah, and they make it easy now, you know, with all the digital advertising and social media networks, it's pretty easy to track stuff. All right, so we beat that horse into the ground pretty good. That's good. So go back in, take another lap around step 5 if you didn't do it, or if you want to redo it, that's great. The other thing I want to look at is the final marketing plan project. I feel like I should have a drum roll for this. And let's get there. Let's not go there. Let me go. Open it up there. Okay. So here we are down week 14. Marketing plan, final project, and related submissions. Okay, so that's down here. That's your only deliverable you have this week. You'll get your points for being here today. You're good to go. Those 10 points, I'll award those out. We're going to break into groups in a little bit and so I've added here, this wasn't in here before until today, I've added 2 sample complete marketing plans for you. So you can look at these here and I encourage you to do so. And I'm just going to walk through one like in reverse order. So here's a marketing plan from last semester. Taking names out. So there's a cover page. And there's a table of contents. This is also a table of graphic contents. You don't need that. But then they get down to the sections of the report. So all of this should be familiar to you because you've done all these sections already. You got your situation analysis. You got your competitor analysis. I would prefer, frankly, that these main sections start on a new page. It's a little better formatting wise. Competitor analysis. Then our third section is target market and positioning. Whoops, I went in reverse order. Competitor analysis.
I have a question.
Yeah, Perla?
So what format do you prefer best, APA or MLA?
I don't care, to be honest. You can do either. For example, this student example, they just did hyperlinks within the paper.
Okay.
You can do MLA or APA. I'm not too much of a stickler on citing sources for the marketing plan.
Okay.
But I've been seeing your stuff go along all sections, so. Target market, positioning. There's a positioning table, which is optional. I did provide some instructions if you want to do this piece. It's an extra graphic. Marketing mix, promotional mix. And then the budget. Here we see the calculation. They want to make 200,000. Their margin's 15%. They're going to need sales of 1.3 million. They're going to take 10% of the sales for the marketing budget. That's their marketing budget, 133K. And here's how they allocate it. They're going big on social media and a little bit of PR. They allocated that 133,000. And here's how they're going to measure the success with the metric. They've got a return on ad spend for the advertising piece. They're going to get this much in sales, 1.3 million, and only spend $100,000, which is a 13.3% return on ad spend. For every dollars of sales they spent, every dollar they spent on advertising, they got $13.3 back in sales. That's really good, right? And of course, it's fictional. So, but that's what this marketing plan is. And then they're showing their public relations piece and what they're trying to hit for that as far as number of tickets. They want to generate 3 news articles throughout the year. So it's just a number. There it is. So that I had to mute there for a second because my son is snacking in the kitchen, and he's going to make us all hungry. The other example, here's another example. And these aren't necessarily perfect, but you're getting a flavor.
They're looking pretty perfect to me, I have to tell you. Like mine really needs some work.
Polish it as much as you can. You know, we've done the 5 steps. You got feedback on each of the steps. Getting something in is better than nothing. It's 100 points. It's not, you know, if you turned in if you got a 50% grade, a failing grade on the marketing plan, you still get 50 points. It's not a huge sinker on your grade. Where it sinks students' grades is if you just don't turn anything in at all. You
Yeah.
can understand because you've done the sections of the plan already. Worst case scenario, if you're having a bad week, and you're not able to get to it, open up a Google Doc. You just cut and paste all your sections into one document. You put a cover page on there. You save it as a PDF, and you turn it in.
That may be the route. I don't know how to do the other. Okay.
Which is fine. Yeah, that's, you know, at least you're getting something in. So here's another one. They've got a cover page. Oh, come on, Zoom. Cover page, table of contents, ignore that. And then you see the same thing, situation analysis. Here's the product. Here's the unmet need. Here's the size of the market. This is our step 1. We go into step 2, competitor analysis and pest analysis. Competitors, like how many competitors do you have? You can do a simple competitor table analysis, which a lot of you did for your step 2. So this one is a little different here. Then you also have okay, here's the table. This alone, frankly, would be sufficient for the competitor piece. And then we'd also be looking for pest analysis. Is there anything down the line outside of your company, future clouds that might impact your business idea? So is there any political legislation pending, like data protection laws are going to impact all the social media platforms? And if you advertise heavily on those platforms, this could impact your efforts there, right? Any economic factors? You know, wow, right now the home market is still kicking. We got a new president coming in. But what if we have a recession here? A lot of people's gap funding, covering people's wages and not having to pay rent, or homeowners not having to pay mortgages, that's running out at the end of the year, right? So that could potentially be an economic shock or a factor there. We don't know. And then social factors. That's more what's going on with society. There's more people working at home. People have more social interaction fear related to pandemic. There's more 2-income families. So, you know, consider all those. What's the current state of our society, and how might that impact your product? Things coming down the line. And then technology. What's going on with technology? Is there things that could render your category obsolete? Maybe you're like, I'm gonna run a custom lift shop for trucks. People who want big, badass, you know, 4-wheel drive lifted trucks. But you know, what if electric trucks are like coming out soon and they're awesome and a lot of people are gonna want to buy them, and people just stop buying those types of trucks, and that would hurt your business, right? So that's looking down the line. Is there anything with technology that might render your category obsolete? You know, I think one factor that's social and technological is, I think we're going to see more people working from home. I think we're going to have a permanent shift that we're never going to go back to full 9-to-5 corporate office environments. One, companies have figured out it's really expensive, and they're still getting people to get work done without those expensive corporate offices, so they can save money there. If you're a business that relies on those corporate offices, like, hey, I have a detail car wash business where I go to Qualcomm and these other big corporate offices and I wash all the executives' cars, you know, that could be a factor. Technology changes things. It's putting certain hotels out of business. Taxis are certainly gone. We're getting driverless cars. There's more virtual reality headsets. The robots are coming in and, you know, starting to do artificial intelligence on things like hiring people and conducting interviews. So you just take a look down the line, and if your business is in the tech space at all, it relies on some technology components, then you should have a nod about things down the line with technology that could impact, hurt, or impact, help your business. So the pest stuff doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. It could be this actually poises us, technology, we have an advantage. So that's competitor and pest. Then we get to target market and positioning. This is a deeper description of who your buyer persona is, which is another way of saying target market, describing them demographically, psychographically. We talked about those differences. Then how you're going to position yourselves, how you're going to make your product different from the existing competitors that are out there. Are you going to focus more on service? Are you going to sell it in a different way, like door to door versus going to a store? Are you going to promote it differently? Is the product itself going to be different? Are you going to price it differently? Maybe you have a subscription model for coffee makers. Instead of people going to Bed Bath & Beyond and just buying a coffee maker, they can like rent a coffee maker and you're selling them as a subscription model. Yeah, I don't know, but that's subscription models are obviously popular. So the differentiation piece doesn't have to be just a new product. It can be the product, it can be how you price it, it can be where you sell it, and how you promote it. So that's what we're looking for there. That's that positioning piece. And then a unique selling point is some type of tagline about your business. Here this person says, "Sweet treats for everyone we meet." And then your marketing and promotional mix. That's being more specific about, here's what my product is. Here's how I'm going to sell it place-wise. Here's how I'm going to price it and why. Then here's how I'm going to promote it. And then under the promotion, you have your promotional mix. My promotion piece is going to consist of this person saying we're going to do some personal selling. We're also going to do some promotions, sales promotions efforts. And so they're not doing a ton of digital advertising with this business. All right, we got that 4 steps done. And then the last one is the one we just did, which is budget and metrics. Here's how I'm going to spend the money, and collapse in a heap and you're done. So you got all the steps done, just weave it through, polish it up a little bit and turn it in and you'll be fine. If you did all 5 steps and you got comments from me and you made adjustments if necessary, or my comments to you were like, this is good, then you should feel pretty solid about turning in your final plan. Preguntas, problemas.
Nope.
We're feeling it. We're feeling it. All right. I want to give you a little time in your groups, just so you can say hi to your peeps. I'm going to do this one of 2 ways. I'm going to break you into 5 groups. Each group is going to be assigned one of the sections of the marketing plan. So if you're group 1, you're going to have step 1, which is the situation analysis. Pulling this up for you. Here we go, right here. So if you're group 1, you're all going to look at your situation analysis. So some folks share their screen, and pick one that you want to share from your group. Pick one that you want to share from your group. So we'll just take like 15 minutes for this. If you're step 2, if you're group 2, you're going to do step 2, competitor and pest analysis. Now I'm giving you the option. You're assigned a step, but if you guys want to do a different step, like, you know what, we're all feeling like our marketing and budget section is not so hot, you guys can self-select and do that section if you want to stay. In other words, you're just going to workshop, kind of look at a few examples. This would be peer editing, if you will. So we need at least a few volunteers to pull up their samples, and you can look through it and see what they did well that might help other students, or what they did wrong that could also help the other students. You got 15 minutes on this, and you'll be group 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So what you'll need to do is remember your group number, what section of the marketing plan you're responsible for, and then you need to go dig and find those documents on your computer, or you can go back to the course and you should be able to pull them up for grades and look at them. How many of you, well, let me just ask the question to make this simple. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. How many would rather just do the step 5, budgeting and metrics? Like, I want to redo my budgeting and metrics, and I want to chat that with my group. Go ahead and hit me with a thumbs up if you want to do that. How many want to look at other sections as well? If you want budget and metrics, hit me with a thumbs up. Nobody wants budget and metrics. All right, I'll just assign you guys your each section. Michaela, hopefully you'll get step 5. I put you in one of 5 groups. We need 1 or 2 volunteers in each of those groups to pull up their section of the marketing plan. You can go to the announcement and it'll tell you what section you have. And I'm going to let you know right now. It'll take about 15 minutes, then we'll recap and we'll have a few folks share samples from their group, one sample. So group 1, you are situation analysis. Group 1 is situation analysis. That's Andrew, JR, Jennifer, Kevin, and Sophia, situation analysis. Group 2 is competitor and pest analysis. That's Christian, Karen, Kelly, Miguel, and Waylon. Group 3, you are Cole, Michaela, Perla, and Shelby. And you're going to be doing target market and positioning. Michaela, I will move you to group 5. And I'm going to move somebody out of group 5. Group 5, hope you don't mind. Okay, we needed somebody in group 5 anyways. So group 3 are a little bit shorter, but Michaela had flagged that she wanted budget and metrics, so you've been moved. Group 4 is marketing and promotional mix. That's Alex, Brady, China, and Fernie. So target market and positioning is group 3, Cole, Perla, and Shelby. Competitor and pest is group 2, Christian, Karen, Kelly, Miguel, and Waylon. Situation analysis is group 1, Andrew, JR, Jennifer, Kevin, and Sophia. And group 5, budgeting and metrics, is Emily, Jackson, Genevieve, Michaela, and Yumi. All right, I'll see you in 15 minutes. You can exit the group or raise your hand in your group if you have questions. China, you need to hit the join button to join your group. Can you hear me, China?